Okay, we're recording. So this is the second meeting of Fomite authors. That doesn't work. And for us to think together, or at least to share what is happening with us as writers in this peculiar environment. And so, you know, this is open. I don't want to be a facilitator or anything. If anybody has anything interesting to say, pop in and say it. You do. I'm reading your lips, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, I got you.
I have something interesting to say.
Go.
Okay. I'm writing book reviews for the Amazon books. So anybody who wants me to write a review for their book, email me a copy or whatever.
I didn't understand. I didn't hear that. What?
He's writing reviews for Amazon. Yes, and if you would like him to write a review for you, send him a file of your book, and he will do that. He must have a lot of time on his hands. But
I will do that. I will do that. The adoption. I will send you the adoption.
The adoption is quite a long book and very complex. That's okay.
I will send it to you. I would love it. I would love it if you reviewed it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It's wonderful.
So anyway, I can start just by saying that, you know, it's a privilege, but that is, we are privileged. But there's very little change for Donna and me. Vermont is probably the safest state, having the few casualties per capita, fewest, and it's the big thing for us is we don't get to go to, Donna doesn't get to go to chorus, and I don't get to play an orchestra. And Bread and Puppet, which is a very big thing for us, is we don't know what's going on with Bread and Puppet this summer. We are publishing a lot of Peter Schumann's books as they come along. So that's our 280's phone. Someone is waiting. We don't know who. So that's our participation in Bread and Puppet. And as far as writing goes, I frankly don't really have the time to write. Not because of COVID, but because of you guys. This is not a guilt trip. It's a guilt trip you. But the fact is that, you know, there's so much stuff that's coming in that it does take up the psychic space when you have other people's words on your screen. And you know, I feel like after 16 novels being out, nobody needs another Mark Esther novel. So, and I would do better to, you know, to put my work into helping other people get their stuff out there. That's my feeling about it. And I did recently put, oh, Dave Brizer, you are, oh, here, this must be on from Tehran. Wow.
Hello, Donna.
Hello.
It's terrific. Glad you could make it all the way from Tehran.
Yes, Tehran. Excuse me if I'm late because I was challenging with VPN and something like that.
That's fine. So anyway, what I was saying is that I did manage to sneak a little book in there, but the fact is that I can't write anymore. I've probably have written myself out. I don't know that I have more to say, really original after 16 novels. So that's where I'm at. And it's a pleasure and an honor to be working with you guys and producing literature.
That's great. 16 is a huge number.
Yeah.
But I would say, Mark, that there is a lot to say, considering that we are what they call unprecedented, even though it's not unprecedented situation with this crisis. Don't you feel, Mark, inspired is kind of a relative word here, to do something that you didn't consider doing it before? It's definitely new possibilities. At least it's working for me. I'm working on this crisis. So in a multiple ways, not just exclusively writing.
Somehow I feel like we've been in this crisis since 1945 at least. You know, my participation in the political scene here is so toxic. I mean, I'm so toxized that, you know, I think this is new. This is a new dimension. But what it brings out is all the old dimensions. And so it doesn't feel that new to me. Plus, you know, we work indoors, et cetera, et cetera. We work. So there are not a lot of changes, and there are not a lot of changes in my head, because the toxicity that's around, to me, that's the normal status.
Yeah, for me, some things have changed a lot and some things haven't changed at all, like you're saying. I did have a lot of events and readings and things like that scheduled that, you know, I had to cancel. I had a book that just came out in April and a children's book that's coming out in August that I can't, you know, do while I'm doing online stuff. So I'm learning lots of new things. But as you said, the day-to-day things, it's almost like, you know, kind of being at a residency.
Where are you?
I'm in central Pennsylvania, Williamsport. Well, it was very crazy for a while because I teach at a university and everything went online. So I wasn't doing any writing then. And everyone was talking about having this extra time. And I was like, I don't have any time. But now I'm kind of settled into the writing. And when I procrastinate from the writing, I try to do the publicity or, you know, sending work out in the business end of things. So I'm not sure what other people are doing, how you're kind of scheduling their days, but that's kind of what I typically do in the summer. And I do tend to stay in, except for going out on walks and things like that.
I hear things are very serious medically in Tehran. Is that true?
Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
As you may know, I'm from Iran, and Persian is my native language, and you have to accept my apology if I can't speak fluently. But I will be thankful if you repeat your question again.
I had heard that things in Iran were getting very bad in terms of the virus, a lot of deaths. And I didn't know how your personal situation was interacting with that.
Well, according to the news and newspapers and TV news, it's getting better. But we hear all around that it's not true and the news are fake. I'm not sure about that because I'm stuck at home as always, as usual, and there's nothing to do but writing and doing some artistic activities. And I'm very sad. It's very sad, and I'm worried about the fate of humankind in this period of time. But if we are considered as only writers, and if we are expected only by jobs, by our jobs as authors, I think unfortunately, I say unfortunately, it's something like a win-win game, because we do just, we always do. We are stuck at home and doing our job same as before. But there's a main difference, there's a basic difference for me, and that is I'm not hopeful as before. I'm not hopeful in my own job because I think I'm writing for what I'm writing for, what the reason of making literature and some art for the humankind that is going to death and to the grave. It's very sad, and I'm worried about that.
I can tell you that I'm several stages into editing this book of stories that you have, and I think that it will make a big difference in what's currently being produced in American literature right now. To bring this out, to have those kind of stories available from a literary point of view. I mean, I consider it, what you're doing, really significant, and will consider this collection of your stories that we're bringing out really significant in the difference between how you're writing and how other people are writing. I don't know if that makes you feel better, or I can't hear you. Sound is off.
Do you have my sound?
Yes, now.
I'm glad to hear that from you, but I think it's a temporary situation for me. And I'm not talking about myself only. I'm talking about our job as writers. In this world, maybe doctors and nurses are prominent person, and now they are angels from the skies, and we see every day many kind of widows, music widows, and something like that about, or something like combining old paintings, classical art about nurses, doctors, and medicine. It seems they are the most important persons in the world right now. And may we have to try our chance after this period of time to analyze and make some critical artistic works about this period, something like Dadaistic art, something like after war artistic works. Maybe, I don't know exactly.
One thing that this has done with me, it has, because I'm kind of stuck and I'm also in pain right now, I've got some back problems, but I go outside and I see the birds, and it's driven me into a deeper appreciation of the beauty, of the amazing beauty of life and of people. So it's driven me into that deeper, much deeper appreciation, way beyond being an artist or the best. You know, I've been out in my canoe looking at trees and birds. Another thing it's done, because I'm a theater artist as well as a writer, so I don't know what kind of artist I am. I'm a musician, you know, I just make art. Sometimes I paint. So to be limited in one form maybe is another jail that you put yourself in. But it makes me, because I'm a theater person, people are going to just want to be outside. So I'm going to want to do theater in parking lots and people sitting on cars with distance between them. More like guerrilla theater, old Greek amphitheater, just public stuff, free stuff, guerrilla stuff, headlights, cars, bring your own beer, to hell with the box office, to hell with your agents. So it's catapulted me. I'm going to do Endgame, Beckett's Endgame in some parking lots this summer, because that's a perfect post-war, post-apocalyptic piece. No one knows anything anymore. Nothing is real. Anything you were promised is a lie. Anything you believed in is bullshit. And what's for supper? You know, that kind of stuff, just getting it back to that Beckett place. And another thing I want to do is some political theater around the election, And I'm going to do that in Germany. I'm not going to do that here. So it makes me just want to just say fuck you to all of this stuff, essentially, and all your despair and all the human race will not last, all that stuff that's been going on. It's just fear of death. And, our life expectancy is 70 years now. It used to be 40. And the world will be so much better. Life will really thrive when humans are gone too. So I think we need to think in the long term about preserving life and maybe, gradually easing ourselves out. But then I'm 70 years old, Anyway, what I've done in this period is kind of written one song called Life After Humans, and planned a whole lot of crazy theater and just worked on my short stories, which are meaningless to anyone, probably. But I like to write. I mean, I like to make art. So I don't care if it's important or if it means anything, or I like to do it because otherwise my back hurts and I got to think of the assholes who run the country and do stuff, So it's fun.
I think that our job as artists in a way and as writers is more relevant than ever, I will say, because there are opportunities now to, particularly political opportunities. I am saddened and disgusted by what is going on, what the pandemic has revealed, which was there is not, there is no secret, right? But the inequalities are more obvious than ever. People are actually dying because of those inequalities. So we can do political activism within writing, painting, art, digital art. So this actually gives relevance to us as people who are giving visions to and presenting what's going on through our whatever we write. So I think it's really fruitful. I've done several things already. I did a feminist manifesto. I did digital art, and yes, and some of the things that are mentioning, like David mentioned, is actually happening. I work at the University of Vermont. The cuts for the people, the most vulnerable people are being cut 25%, but the top only cuts a few percentage. So we actually did protests that are forms of performance. In our cars, honking and doing things like that. So I think it's a very good opportunity. The fact that we are in our chairs in Vermont, that is particularly safe, as Mark said. On the other hand, makes us more like relevant to establish that witnessing of what's going on and to show it and through our art.
And one of the great roles of literature, of course, is empathy, right? To help us understand what others are feeling, for them to understand what we're feeling, and to have that universal connection as well. Yeah. I think that's important too.
Well, I started the pandemic after the new year, looking at sending out this first book of mine, and then it was going to come out on Fomite, which was great. And the pandemic, maybe at the beginning of the pandemic, Mark and I were going through editing stuff, and I started writing some additional stories for it. And then I got sick and had to isolate from my family in my music studio, which is a back house. And I had 8 days of fever, and I didn't sleep for a couple days at a time because I'd be up all night doing compresses. So I was getting pretty fatalist for a while there. And I was making video wills and stuff because I realized I don't have a will. I have a 16-year-old daughter, and my wife was bringing food over and leaving it outside my studio. And so then I started to get better, and I actually tested negative, which I don't know. No one knows the accuracy of the testing. But I got back into the house, and like someone else said, I had sort of a reaffirmation for life and feeling like this is a time to celebrate life. And I've lost a couple friends in the past month, and a director I've worked with. And so I think it was a challenge to not go to that kind of dark place. And, but I didn't want to be back in my music studio after isolating there. So I've been at home writing now, trying to do that affirmation for life. And I think that is a role of writing, is to give a personal experience and something universal and empathy, like Marjorie said. So I'm not doing a lot of music right now, but I am writing, which is a new thing for me because my upcoming book is my first book. So yeah, I'm writing now, working on a new novel that I just started. And yeah, that's what I'm up to. But trying not to be so doom and gloom after that 8 days of fever.
Dave Brizer, are you voluble? Can you speak? Speak, pig.
I certainly can. I just to add to what I've been doing, a slightly new twist to my writing activities, which is I've been earning a living ghostwriting, and I've done 4 memoirs in the past year. It's almost like psychiatry, very personal and very squirrely.
Do you find yourself slipping in your role, psychoanalyzing your ghosts?
Of course. I've actually turned down a couple of clients who had so little insight into their own functioning that I couldn't elicit any feelings or self-awareness from them.
Can't imagine what ghostwriting is about. David Schein, I can't hear you. Can't hear you. Dave Schein?
When you're ghostwriting, I've done a bit of that too. I always try to become that other person, and then, and sometimes they're really strange. So you have to get into their head, And I was a suburban Jewish woman from Queens for about 1.5 years working on this show, and I got, I became her, and it was weird to be her, but she was a good lady. She just, was really different than me. But I do think, maybe that's the actor in me, that you have to get into them and become them and kind of, just channel your technique and your wit through it.
Oh. We got a message that they're about to shut us off. I think this is actually, we have 6 minutes to go. So let's use our 6 minutes, but I think this has been a good thing to broadcast. That is our local community television station, which is now has their studio closed, is looking for material. And they asked if I could get the Fomite writers to come and talk about exactly what we're talking about. And I think this will be a good little clip for them to use.
Well, let's do a reading for them and not just talk about writing, but just do our stuff, next time or in a bit.
That's a great idea. How would you, everybody gets 15 minutes? Who wants 15 minutes or something? Like a reading?
Yeah, it's a Zoom reading. People do Zoom readings. We do a series of Fomite Zoom readings if they're looking for material,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Great. We'll send something out.
Yeah, we'll send something out and to the large gang and see who wants to do something like that.
Tina, could you do graphics too in some of your video stuff?
Actually, I've done some digital work, so I could share that. It's in Spanish. I don't think I'll be able to translate that into English, but why not, right? So we have some Spanish poetry, digital poetry. Definitely, I would love to.
Absolutely. Manny Leone puts out 05401 in foreign languages, right?
For those who are outside Burlington, 05401 is an occasional magazine, very high production values.
05401 is our zip code, postal zip
postal
code. Yeah. So, and there's quite a impressively crazy old man who puts that magazine out, and it's inspiring what he does, the quality of what he does, and the offbeatness of what arrives 2 or 3 times a year, 3 or 4 times a year.
Any last words?
Yeah, anybody want to leave a message? We're having a countdown on screen here.
But are we meeting again?
There's one more of these with another group of Fomite authors, and then I think we should take Dave Schein's suggestion seriously and put out a call for who would like to do a 15 to 20 minute thing, whatever it is, in a box on Zoom, and put together however many of those we can as Fomite.
Yeah, and then get the Fomite YouTube channel going.
I don't know how to do that.
I believe we have a channel already, so we might be able to do a Facebook Live, a YouTube Live thing or something.
That's good.
So I can work on that. And one of our authors in Maine has been doing a quarantine story hour every Monday night.
That's beautiful.
And I'm sure he could help if I can't figure it out.
Donna's the techie, obviously.
Yeah, then, because we can't do readings, so we might as well, I've been doing some stuff like that with other groups, and let's do it.
So, but my question was, are we meeting today after these 3 minutes? Are we going back or not?
I think we've really covered.
Oh, okay. It's good to know.
It's been a good discussion, and there's no need to keep it going just to keep it going.
Well, yes, also, this is our 3rd Zoom today. It just happened.
It's very nice to see you all.
You're all zoomed up. Bye.
Okay. Great to see you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for doing this.
Bye. Thank you.
All right. Goodbye.
Gracias.
Let's see. What do we do? End.
Bye, Tina. Good to see you.
Recording. Stop the recording.
Oh, stopped recording.